Hello everyone, I'm Sara Sach, and it's Friday, so you know what that means. Friday fun with Sara. That's me. I really have a fun project for us today. We are going to make some spider web coasters. Check out that little spider I got there. I'll tell you all about those in just a second. Now this is a super easy coaster pattern, and we add a spider web to it, maybe a little spider, and these can be used, of course, as coasters, or you can make a bunch of them and hang them up like a bunting for your holiday Halloween decorations. They're super cute and super easy to make. And you know, I like to use the word super. Alrighty, so we're going to make some spider webs that we can use as coasters or our Halloween decorations. So let's go over to the other camera so I can show you how to do that. The spider web coasters measure about 6 inches across, so it's a nice size that, yes, you can use as a coaster. And remember, if you're going to make them as a coaster, you probably want to use a cotton medium weight number 4. I'm using mine as decorations, so I'm just using some acrylic yarns like a Red Heart Super Saver that I have in my yarn stash. I have kind of an off-white here, this light orange that I've used for other projects, and this kind of, I call it a dirty green. It's kind of a dirty lime green. I think it's perfect for this. And I'm going to do today's in this yellow, and of course use the black for the edge and the stitching. Now, if you're going to use it as a coaster, make sure you put your spiders out on the edge and not in the center of your spider web, or you won't be able to put your cup on there. All right, now I went to the store and I was just looking for, you know how you get those big bags of plastic spiders? Because I like to have those on hand this year because we're going to get to have trick-or-treaters, and I want to make sure I have something for kids that are maybe allergic to nuts or can't have candy, and to have something for them. And so I bought these spiders, and they are rings, and you get 8 of them for 98 cents. I could not find the ones I usually buy. Aren't those cool? I think they're super cool. I think these would be fun to put in your hair as well as on your spider web. Now you can use a button, you can use appliques, or you can try to stitch one. But I saw these, and for 98 cents, because I want to make 8, I'll have a spider for each one, because I'm going to hang this up as a bunting across my door. All right, and so I got these at Walmart, 98 cents, and each one of them have a purple jewel. Now I didn't see any of them except purple jewels, so if they have them in other colors, I don't know. All right, and this is the package. It's just called Spider Rings, 8 pieces, 98 cents. All right? I think they're super cool. And I'm going to put one on each one of my, I'm calling them buntings, but they're coasters as well. Again, if you're going to do coaster, medium weight number 4 cotton. If you're going to do decoration, medium weight number 4 acrylic, or whatever you have in your yarn stash. Now you don't have to use acrylic or cotton. You can use whatever you've got. And also, I did mine in solid colors. You can use whatever you've got on that as well. Now we're going to be stitching these up with our H-hook, which is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need a needle for weaving in ends and for sewing on these stripes. They're not hard, or these lines, they're not really stripes, it's our webbing. And I'm going to show you a neat way you can do it that will use a little bit less yarn than what you would think, okay? And so then the last thing you need, of course, is your scissors. So we're going to start with the body of our coaster or bunting first. Then we'll do the trim in black, and then we'll come back in and do those stitches, all right? So we're going to start with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 5. We're going to join this chain 5 into a circle. And then we'll tie that stay knot. Now, if you prefer to use the magic circle or another method to make the circle, you certainly can. We're going to go in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. This chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. Now we're going to double crochet in that chain 5 circle and chain 1. And now we're going to do this 5 more times. We're going to stitch 2 double crochets, 1, 2, and chain 1. 1, 2, and chain 1. We want to have 6 sets of 2 double crochets, chain 1. You'll also notice that I'm stitching over this tail of yarn, and that's so we can close up the center when we're finished. I usually like to do that after the first row though. I just like to get it over with. Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to do one more. 2 double crochets, chain 1. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch. We're going to slip stitch in that next double crochet and then slip stitch in the chain 1 space and chain 3. Now at this point I like to turn this over, grab my needle, go ahead and pull that string and close up that hole. It's just one less thing I have to do later, and it also kind of gets in the way when you try to make those stitches. So, you know, I like to just go ahead and get it closed up, and then I don't have to worry about it. I'm just going back and forth. There we go. We'll clip that. And so for row 1, we have 6 sets of 2 double crochets, chain 1. For row 2, our chain 3 counts is our first double crochet, so we're going to double crochet in that chain 1 space. We're going to chain 1, and then we'll go right in that same space and stitch 2 more double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 1. Now we'll go to the next chain 1 space and we'll stitch 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 1. Then we'll go to the next chain 1 space and repeat that. 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. And chain 1. So we have 3 sets there, and we'll do the last 3 and then join to our chain 3. So I have completed row 2, and we have 6 sets of 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and chain 1. All right, here's my chain 1. I'm going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch. I'm going to slip stitch in the next double crochet and then slip stitch in the chain 1 space and chain 3. All right, so now in this chain 1 space, I'm going to double crochet, chain 1, and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. I'm going to chain 1, and then in this chain 1 space, we're going to stitch just 1 double crochet and chain 1. Now we'll move to the next set where we have the 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets, and in that chain 1 space we'll stitch 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. We'll chain 1, and the next chain 1 space we'll stitch 1 double crochet and chain 1, and then we'll move to the next chain 1 space and stitch 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets, and chain 1. And see how the pattern works? We've got our corner or our point with 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, then we chained 1, 1 double crochet, and chain 1, and then we repeated that. And here is our 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then we'll double crochet in the chain 1 space and chain 1. And so you'll repeat this on these 3 more points and then join back to our chain 3. So I repeated that 3 more times. Here's my last corner with my chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. We're going to join to the chain 3 with a slip stitch in the next double crochet, and slip stitch in the next chain 1 space and chain 3. And row 4 is pretty much the same as row 3. The only difference is we're going to be chaining 2 in between our double crochets. All right, so our chain 3, then we'll double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet 2 times in that chain 1 space. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to move right over here to this double crochet and double crochet in that double crochet, and then chain 2. Then we'll move over to the chain 1 space and stitch 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Chain 2, double crochet in that double crochet, and chain 2. So it's similar, we're just adding an extra chain in between our double crochets. Then we'll move over to our next chain 1 space and stitch our 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets. Chain 2, double crochet in the double crochet, and 2 double crochets. And see how that repeat works? And we'll continue this around and join back to our chain 3. So we're doing a point or a corner, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets, then we chain 2, double crochet in the double crochet, chain 2, and repeat. And we'll repeat that 3 more times and join back to our chain 3. I completed row 4, and we have 6 sets of our point, which is 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, and then chain 2, double crochet, chain 2. And then we repeated that 6 times. We joined to our chain 3, slip stitched in the next double crochet, and then slip stitched in our chain 1 space. We're finished with our main color, so we're going to cut that off, and we're going to bring in our black, and we're going to put the trim on the outside. All right, so I'm going to bring my black in, and I know that black is hard to see, but I think you'll be able to see black stitching on yellow. Okay, so in this first chain 1 space, we're going to stitch a single crochet, chain 1, and single crochet. All right, now we're going to single crochet in these 2 double crochets. So 1, 2. This brings us to our chain 2 space. We're going to stitch 2 single crochets in that chain 2 space. We'll stitch a single crochet in the double crochet, and then we'll stitch 2 single crochets in that chain 2 space. This brings us to our next point. We're going to stitch a single crochet in those first 2 double crochets. Then we'll go in the chain 1 space and stitch a single crochet, chain 1, and single crochet. Okay, so now we'll work across the next one. Single crochet in the 2 double crochets, 2 single crochets in the chain 2 space, single crochet in the double crochet, 2 single crochets in the chain 2 space, and 1 single crochet in those next 2 double crochets. All right, so there's our second side, and you'll continue that around on all of the next 4, and then we'll join back to our first single crochet. So I repeated that all the way around. Here's my last double crochet. I'm going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch. We'll pull that loop up a little bit and we'll go in the next one and pull that to the back. All right, cut our yarn and then we can tie that off to the back of our project. All right, so now we just need to grab our needle and weave these ends in, and then I'm going to show you how to add those spider web stitches that make, you know, just makes it look just like a spider web, and it's super duper cute. All right, so I'm going to weave these in. You weave yours in, and I'll meet you back in just a second. So now I have just a nice hexagon shaped coaster. And they're fun, they're cute, and you can use them like this, of course. But I want to make this into a spider web. And so I've threaded on about, I don't know, 18 inches onto my needle. I like to put a little more than I probably need at first. You'll end up threading your needle about 3 times. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the stitches that go along the 6 points, okay? So we're going to come up from the center. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail back here. That's going to be for weaving in later. And we're going to go up the stitches like this. We're going to go in the first one, up the next one, in the next one, and then up this way. All right. We're going to make sure that we don't pull this thread out from the bottom, okay? So now we've come back from the top, and we're just going to go in and out like that. And then we'll come back up the center. So there's one row of our black stitching. All right, so now we'll do the next one. We'll do the same thing. We'll go in, out like that. And then we'll do the same thing back down. And we'll do this on all of the 6 points or corners. And be careful not to pull too tight like I did there. And you can loosen it like I did as well. You want it to be secure, but you don't want it to be droopy either. So it's kind of, you just got to take your time and it'll work out just fine. All right. So there's 3 of them, and I'm going to do the next 3. So I've stitched the 6 points. I'm going to turn this over so you can see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and weave this one in. So I'm just going to make sure that I don't go through to the front because I don't want any extra stitches on the front. So I'm just going to weave it in and go ahead and cut those yarns. All right. It just gets them out of the way. And you don't want to tie knots on this because you end up with bumps if you tie knots, especially if you're going to use this as a coaster. All right, so now I'm going to grab another piece of yarn. Same thing, nice and long, and thread this on my needle. And we're going to start doing the rows that go around. So we're going to start here at this first row. All right, and we're going to do a similar fashion. We're going to go up. We're going to leave a tail, go in, okay, so now we get back around here. We'll go back the way we came. So we'll go this way. I pulled my tail. Let's get that back in there. There we go. My thought is to try to make it look as neat as possible and not use a whole bunch of yarn. All right, so there's the center circle. All right, now I didn't cut my yarn this time. I am going to sort of go over this one to keep it secure like that, because we don't want to secure that one just yet. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and do the same thing. So we're going to go in, only this time instead of going around again, we're going to go back. And then come back up over here. Because this is a little bit longer of a stitch here, and so we want to try to just keep going around. so now I'll just go right back in there. And that's the second row. All right, so now I'm going to come to the back. And I'm going to come back to the center here and weave that in. This one's already connected, and then we'll cut this one. All right, I know there's a little bit of yarn left on here, but I don't want to be in the middle of my third row and have to add more yarn. So after the second one, like that, I'll go ahead and trim my yarn. And now we'll do the last one around here, and it's done just a little bit different. All right, let's do the last row. We're going to come up here. All right. We're going to leave a little bit there for weaving in, but we're not going to go all the way across. We're going to go to the double crochet there, and then we'll come up here. And remember, don't pull that yarn out. And then we'll come back to the double crochet and come back here. Whoops! Caught my scissors. All right, again, you want it to look nice and pretty, but you don't want it droopy, but you don't want it too tight either. All right, so now we'll do the next one. We'll go to the double crochet and then come here to the next chain one of that next corner. All right, to the double crochet, to the next chain one of the next corner, and then we'll go back in that double crochet like that. All right, it's really not hard. It's just you've got to do it in such a way that it's going to stay put but also look really cute. You don't want knots and stuff. And if you want to, you could do this with a chain, crochet chain. I tried it that way and I just felt like it was just too bulky and it would not work good for a coaster at all. But these would be so fun just thrown around the table, or maybe put a candle in it burning, or one of those tea lights. I like to use tea lights a lot because you don't have to worry about a flame. All right, here's my last side. I'll go in. That's done. So we'll go to the back and get everything weaved in. The main thing in weaving these in is you don't want any more of the yarn of the black to show through on the yellow, or you end up with little blips of it and it just doesn't look good. All right, so I'm going to weave these in and then I'll show you how to add a fun spider. Now, placement of the spider is totally up to you. If you're using a button, you can sew it on. But I love these little plastic rings because you can see they open up and they attach really well. And you can just put them through any stitch that you want. But keep in mind, if you're going to use it as a coaster, you want to put it out towards the edge. And so I'm just going to open that up. I'm going to stick it through that stitch there and that stitch there. And now I've got a spider on my spider web. So here's 4 of the spider webs I made, and I like to put the spiders in different places because I'm going to be using mine as a bunting. I'm just going to take some of this black yarn and sort of just string it through the holes and hang it up. I think it's going to be super cute when the trick-or-treaters come to my door and I have these spider webs and all these fun colors for them to see. I just have to say it. Aren't these super fun? I just love them. I love them all. I cannot wait to hang these up for my Halloween decorations. They're so cute. So get in your yarn stash. You can come up with lots of different colors, or you can just make them in. This is an off-white and black. And remember, they can be coasters. Just make sure if you add a spider, you put it towards the edge of the coaster. Let's see, like this one is over on the edge. And again, you can find these cute spiders at your local Walmart. 8 spiders for 98 cents. It's worth it. And I bet little trick-or-treaters would like to have these as well. All right, so get in your yarn stash, make you some fun spider webs, and I'll see you next week for Friday Fun with Sara.